What's up, guys? Welcome to Whiskey. My name is Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and once in a while I throw in a list as well. That sounds interesting? Hit subscribe down below. And with that out of the way, why don't we jump into our list? Today we're talking about 5 whiskeys that were runners up to my whiskey of the year. Stick around. So we're coming up on 2022, which means most of us YouTubers are going to be putting out our whiskey of the year video. I'm sure some have already. This will not be that video. This instead is going to be a list of runners up. I've opted to devote an entire video just to my whiskey of the year, and this will be the 5 other whiskeys that were under consideration. There's no real rules to this list. This is just a bunch of whiskeys that really stood out to me this year. I don't need to have tried them for the first time this year. They don't need to be new releases from this past year. Just really solid whiskeys that I feel comfortable recommending to you guys. I did try and keep it somewhat budget friendly. These are not necessarily cheap whiskeys, but they're all pretty affordable. Let's say under US 100 or 75 pounds. Of course, some might be a little bit over that. That depends on your market if you're in a particularly expensive market, but generally speaking, these are affordable whiskeys, and they're also widely available. I tried to make it so that you guys wouldn't have any trouble getting your hands on them. So yeah, that's about it. As always, I do have an honorable mention poured into my glass here. Make sure you stick around after the list. I'll let you know what that is, and let's not waste time. Let's jump into it. In the meantime, if you could kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. Alright, let's kick things off with number 5. Number 5 is a peated whiskey. It's one I reviewed not too long ago. It's an entry level. It's from Islay. It is a little bit expensive for an entry level offering, but I do think the quality justifies the price here. I'm talking about the Port Charlotte 10-year-old. Bruichladdich have been killing it over the last couple of years, especially with their peated options, in my opinion. This whiskey has everything we'd want from an Islay. It's peaty, it's punchy, it's rugged. Nice extra touch here is that this one comes in at 50% ABV, which is a few points higher than our standard 46%. We also have some second fill wine casks that play in this. I think it's like 25% matured in second fill wine casks. So we have a very nice but like very subtle fruity element behind all of that peaty goodness. Just a nice extra layer to things. I think this is the best 10-year-old coming out of Islay these days. Ardbeg 10 fans, I'll see you down in the comments. This is excellent stuff. Check it out if you haven't. Number 5 is going to be Port Charlotte 10-year-old. So for number 4, we're keeping it going with the theme of peat. I always talk about how I'm a sherry guy, but never let it be said that I don't enjoy a good peated whiskey. We're moving away from Islay here. We're heading up to the Tobermory distillery. We're looking at Lejeag 10-year-old. This one is either the most affordable or tied for the most affordable whiskey on this list. It's cheap, it's smoky, it's flavorful, it's unique. There's a lot of peated whiskeys on the scene, but none quite have that funky, slightly cheesy character that we get with Lejeag. It's a take it or leave it type of thing, but I love it. We've got nice peat, nice island flavors, nice balance. Again, that touch of funk. This one's not going to get you with its complexity. It's more just the character and the flavors that are extremely charming and unique and vibrant. This is better than most of the stuff coming out of Islay. So yeah, this is excellent stuff. It's not to be missed. Check it out if you haven't already. And for those of you who haven't figured it out yet, I'm going to tell you now, Lejeag is just one of the best brands out there for peated whiskey. It's not all about Islay anymore. Number 4, Lejeag 10. So my pick for number 3 is going to be a pretty dramatic change of pace. We're heading over to the Highlands. We're looking at a sherried whiskey, and not just a sherried whiskey. We're looking at a very sherried whiskey. This is kind of a new release, but kind of not. It's replacing an older, lesser version of itself. It's very different. I'm talking about the Royal Brocklet 12-year-old. Not everyone is a fan of this stuff. I do understand that. It's a sherry bomb. It's definitely cask dominated. We have some seriously intense Oloroso sherry casks at work here. It's big, it's sweet, it's rich. It is a little bit pricey for an entry-level 12-year-old, but it still should be generally affordable. Don't overpay for this one. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I've been singing this one's praises since it came out, partially because I love it, but partially also because they've decided to move in the opposite direction of most other distilleries. They've decided that from now moving forward, everything they put out is going to be age-stated and naturally presented. Meaning their ABVs are always going to be minimum 46%, they're going to be non-chill filtered, naturally colored, all the good stuff. Their older releases had none of those things, so it's really good to see them moving in a positive direction. If that's not worthy of a little bit of praise and positive attention, I don't know what is. So yeah, this one was a wonderful surprise this year. It's a delicious whiskey. It's one for us sherry lovers. My number 3 is Royal Brocklet 12. Alright, so for my number 2, we have another sherry bomb. This one's a bit of a legend. I think the brand on the whole has been picking up some steam over the last few years. They didn't used to enjoy the same level of popularity. They're known for their extremely dense sherried whiskeys, although they do have some killer bourbon options out there as well. The brand is Edgewood Dower, the whiskey is Caledonia. Some of you out there might have seen this one coming. Our bottle comes in at the high end of entry level pricing, but I think it's worth every penny. We have the classic intensely sherried Edgewood Dower cask influence. We also have a touch of funk underneath. You know, Edgewood Dower is such a unique distillate, and it seems like it can shine through even underneath some seriously active casks. Again, this is another one for the sherry lovers out there. If we're going to compare it to the Bracla, I would say this one's a little bit less, I don't want to say it's less generic. It's less easy access than the Bracla. Again, we have a touch of rugged funk behind all of that big sherry. Regardless, it's a brilliant whiskey. It's from an amazing distillery. Endlessly drinkable stuff. Number 2, Edgewood Dower Caledonia. Okay, so we're down to our number 1 spot, which I guess technically is number 2 because number 1 will be my whiskey of the year, and that video is coming out next week. But for this video, it's number 1, whiskey of the year. It's number 2. Yeah. Anyway, this whiskey is very sweet. It's very approachable. I think it's delicious, but it's not going to be for everyone. And that's because this is from a brand that people don't really like, and it's also not naturally presented. I'm talking about the Dalmore 12 Sherry Cask Select. Now, this one comes in at 43%. It is colored. It is chill filtered. And because of that, it really couldn't be whiskey of the year. And it's not because it's a formal rule that I've made. It's just, I don't want to reward that. But still, I love this stuff. It's not an infinitely complex whiskey. It's not like rugged or edgy in any way whatsoever. It's rich, it's lush, it's sweet, but it's never cloying. I think if you're a fan of sherry, you'll be able to get behind this one. Also, we do have a surprising amount of flavor packed in here considering the ABV. This one's a guilty pleasure. And, I mean, it shouldn't be a guilty pleasure. You're allowed to like Dalmores. If you like Dalmores, you like Dalmores. There are a few Dalmores out there that I quite enjoy. I do think this is one of the better ones. It is important to note that this is not the regular 12-year-old though. This one's the Sherry Cask Select. This is a very different and much better whiskey. It's reasonably affordable. You are going to be paying more than the regular 12, but honestly, rightly so. It's richly flavored. It's delicious. I find it to be a very satisfying pour. Just one of those viscerally pleasing whiskeys. It's great at 43%. It would be much better at 46%. This one would be a banger, but it is what it is, and for now, it still makes our number 1 spot for runners-up to Whiskey of the Year. So number 1, Dalmore 12 Sherry Cask Select. All right, that's it. That's our list. That's 5 whiskeys that almost made it to Whiskey of the Year this year. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. What whiskeys were you happy to see included? What whiskeys do you think I missed out on? As always, let me know down below in the comments. Obviously, this list is meant to be a precursor to the video for my actual Whiskey of the Year. That one will be coming out next week, so stay tuned for that one. I know some of you stuck around to find out what mystery whiskey is in my glass here. This is going to be the Bunnahabhain 12. I know it's nothing new or fancy or exciting, but what a classic. Now, this one didn't make it onto the proper list, not because it's not good enough, it absolutely is. It might just be a little bit too obvious. It's not shiny or flashy or interesting enough for a lot of you out there, but it's still a staple. It's still a classic. It's still one of the best entry-level whiskeys that money can buy. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. That's always appreciated. And, yep, that's it. See you next time.